We are here. My name is Darren DeWitt Henson.
And I'm Tari Henson.
And you are watching and listening to the
In the Groove podcast.
Now, today we have an amazing show. I'm really excited about this one because we have really one of my mentors in the room with us today. And one of the main reasons that I'm on the Double Cross series, we have Mr. Howard Gibson in the building.
Howard!
Yeah. What's up? What's up, fam?
And alongside of him is his beautiful wife, Amber, who will be joining us as well.
Amber!
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yep.
So now
Welcome.
I want to get started because
Thank you.
what most of you don't know is that I was casted on the Double Cross series because of Howard. So I want to say publicly again, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
And the reason that I say that is most people don't know that you are the person that said that you wanted to get me and use my presence on screen. Can you just give the people, some information about that?
Yeah,
casting process.
Absolutely. So in writing and creating it, Crystal wrote this cast member, Detective Ryan.
Crystal being
Crystal Gibson, my sister, and the writer creative of the series. And I started writing this. I started reading this thing, and I'm like, I need to get a voice. I need to find a voice for every person and character that I read. I need to, from a director's point of view, from an execution of the executive producer, creating the vision of this thing from paper to vision. Who could it be? Who could it be? And I just kept hearing this TikTok of Darren Henson's voice in every time. Every time I kept hearing this voice. And I was like, let me go look at Darren again. And I kept looking. Let me look at Darren. What y'all think about Darren? I said, I love Darren. They said, we love Darren. We love Darren. Can we get Darren? Can we get Darren? And I said, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. And I sent on kind of an APB out on you everywhere. I called everybody that I knew in LA and in Atlanta, New York. Say New York. That's right. Called New York.
I got to tell you this, no cap, Howard. Like, I love you right back. And one of the reasons why is because people don't understand in this industry how important it is to have somebody honor your work, love your work, and then seek you out where you don't have to audition. So many worthy people are still auditioning. I remember Melinda Williams, who, of course, I worked with, Soul Food series, a phenomenal television series. Shout out to the Soul Food series cast. But I remember somebody who knew her work very, very well asked her to audition for another show that they were actually doing. Like, come on, you work with this woman 5 years.
Right.
And you're asking her to audition, you know what she can do. And
Correct.
I remember how she felt about that. So it's very interesting sometimes when we have to re-audition for producers or directors that we've worked with prior, but to have somebody that I have never worked with say, we want him.
Yeah. I literally, like, when I read it and I looked at it, and I kept ringing the bell.
What was it about Darren's voice that you just kept hearing for this character?
It was everything about Darren. Everything. It was his look and how he moves.
Yeah.
He controls his body. He controls his eyes, his mouth, and everything. His pauses are right in the right places. Right? And then he knows he has this cadence, and then he can be like this strong guy and then break it with a freaking smile that'll just boom. And then it turns the corner.
Yeah.
Come on, Howard. Come on, man. Look, if I was light like you, I'd be red right now. But no, I truly mean that. What I'm saying is that it's really important as an actor, okay, that people value and see your work because your last job is your next audition.
Right.
Can you speak to that a little bit? Because I'm sure you've seen all of it as a director, as a producer, right? I mean, you do a little bit of everything. You're a renaissance man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Most people
and
don't know.
you've created and worked with and technology that come on, George Lucas, right, recognized.
Correct.
So let's talk about that. I mean, that's big.
Yeah. First, I'm gonna go back into what we really felt and what I felt personally that I had to express to the network about you. We needed a veteran, somebody who was very versatile, and who was our glue. And I knew that I could rely on you based upon all of the focus that you've had to be coming from choreography. It's a lot of focus and attention to that.
Yes, sir.
Very detailed, very sharp in your moves. And then you be able to instruct that. So I knew that about you. I knew that you had that. And then when I saw you transition into acting and, Stomp the Yard, you played this commander in chief again, right? Because that was that kind of underbelly of just who you are.
Yes, sir. Iron sharpens iron. What people don't know is that when I was working with Michael Jackson, I was nice with my dance steps, but after working with Michael, I was razor sharp. And so what I did was I transitioned all that focus and energy into acting. I mean, you do the same. I listen to you and I watch you talk about technology and talk about camera shots and talk about scenes like no one else. I watch you do the same thing. When you talk about technology or when you talk about, approaching a scene a certain way, when I'm on set with you, when you're directing the episodes, you have a focus and an intensity that matches the end result that you desire before you even start shooting. And so I watch your process.
Yeah, it's coming from a long history of just understanding content and how to create something from the original initials of just having the camera in my hand and light, and that transitioned into storytelling and how to create light to tell a story without really words. That comes out of music videos, imagery, and to try to explain into the world the visions that people are saying. And so, I started that in '92, Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah, you
making
have
those videos.
Huge. Can you let our audience know some of the music videos? And when I say monumental, they're monumental.
Huge
music
artists,
videos, huge
very
hip-hop
iconic
videos, right?
Yeah.
That you directed.
Yeah. Well, we were the guys behind the vision. So you have these departments, and so everything works in a big bowl of creativity. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes the directors may be as F. Gary Grays, and it may be the Hype Williams and all those kind of guys, but they have the people who are visionaries behind them as well to help cultivate those images, to cultivate the ideas, and we all execute as a partnership. So as I was coming up through the years and working with Antoine Fuqua, Simon West, Michael Mann, who's now doing Transformers.
And Antoine Fuqua, who
did Training Day, and he has a new Will Smith.
The
Equalizers franchise. And so I was kind of in their shadows and learning from them and being on their team as far as their creative director, creative treatments, and turned it and transitioned to myself being a cinematographer and then director. So I went through a lot of those, very iconic shows, working with Sting, just so many. I can't even remember half of them, man. It was so much.
Name one music video that
Hit 'em up, Tupac, Hit 'em up.
Hit 'em up.
Hit 'em up,
Tupac, Hit 'em up. And so, Pac was one of those guys who allowed these creative geeks to say, hey, man, can you do green screen stuff? What you mean? Everybody else was doing it, and the other directors just wanted to direct it and get the girls and sexy rundown. And I'm like, man, do the green screen parts, man. Do this right here. Let me try to figure out.
Yeah, because it was kind of a new thing too.
It was
at that
absolutely
time, right?
new, and and
now we can't talk about Hit 'em Up without telling us a little bit about your behind the scenes, right? Give us a little BTS language about what it was like to work with Tupac.
Pac was amazing. He was just the energy. He was the driving force, much like you. And I associate myself as a strong man. I try to gravitate to other strong men and leaders.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so I gravitated towards that. And he was very focused. And we also had a kinship of being from Maryland. I'm from PG County, Maryland, Washington, D.C. He was from Baltimore. And so many years we were able to connect in that way and see things in a very personal way. A lot of people see Pac from all of these social media you know, all of these T-shirts and stuff like that, man. And I knew him in a very intimate way.
50 Cent actually made a statement about Tupac. He said if he was living today, he thinks that Tupac would have went back to his origins about being political. And I agree with him.
Yeah.
I think that he was such a visionary that he would have moved into the cycle of really trying to change things for people of color in the black diaspora.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think a lot, what I tell you all the time, he really, you know, influenced me. I was 18, 19 around him. You know, he was just a few years older, and he was a dynamite, you know, kind of, person coming in. It was just energy.
Yeah.
Super energy. And you just had to command and just be quiet and listen, you know, and he did that. And, you know, he had his peers and everybody were in heavy competition. And I sat back and saw it as a fly on the wall, you know, from his iteration of being on those video sets to transition into movies. And I was able to be intimate to sit back and look at that and see his transition. And he was definitely in a direction before his time, man.
It was amazing. He did this movie called Gridlock that he was shooting with Dandy Newton.
That's where it was.
And Roth,
Yeah.
Tim Roth.
Yeah.
And, you know, he passed away during that film. And I don't
In
even think
post-production.
Yeah,
of that
post,
film.
right? Yeah. And so, you know, rest in peace, rise in power, Tupac. So let me ask you something, Howard. This had to come from somewhere. What were the origins of teaching you about this? Now, I know your father is and your mom. You guys, one things that I have learned about the Gibsons is that y'all move strong.
Y'all move as one.
Yes.
You move strong. Like when you say the Gibsons, you might look down the block and it might be 200 family members behind you. Am I right, Amber?
That's very true.
Am I right, Amber?
We are solid.
Right? Y'all
are.
move strong and you move together. I remember when we first started Double Cross, I met a daughter, then I met a son, then I met another son, then I met another daughter, then I met another son, then I met another daughter. Like, you believe in keeping the money in the family.
Generational wealth.
Generational
right.
wealth.
Legacy.
You understand?
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about your mother and father, who I adore.
Yeah. My parents, Vashti and Dan, we all call them, you know, and they're pastors, you know, people who are believers. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they're fundamental.
He's a PK, guys.
I'm a PK. I'm a
So
PK.
both of your parents are pastors.
Yes.
Wow.
So, you know, and we started our ministry, Church of Great Commission, with very little members, about 30 members, and we swelled up to about 5,000 in the 80s. And we went from a small church to 200,000 square foot building on 3 acres. And in that time, a lot of what was happening was broadcasting from our church. So from 13 years old, I was doing quite much what's happening right here behind the scenes. We were capturing sermons. We were creating shows on the weekends, talk shows. And at that time, cable was still new. And we ended up having to captivate the entire DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And I'm 13 years old, and we're on cable television. I get to meet Kathy Hughes when she was still a disc jockey, and she was transitioning over, you know?
So you were always kind of interested in the technology behind the camera. When did you know that, like, you had a talent, like this is what you wanted to pursue as a career?
When I was 7 years old, my dad brought the camera to me, a video camera.
Was love at first sight?
Yep. And well, before that, my dad was like a documentary filmmaker and a builder. So he had an 8mm camera and a 16mm film camera. And so he was shooting that. And one thing led to the next of me understanding. I think we got, stop there? Okay. One thing led to the next. He would take his 16mm negatives and say, hey, you want to watch this? And I said, yeah. And he would hand me a film reel and say, go take the projection system out. And I'm like 5 or 6. So I would get an 8mm or 16mm reel to reel and pull the projector out. And that's when the technology hit me. There was a process to even see it. So you got to go in, to open the reels, you got to spool it through and take it to the other side and tick it on, tick, 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 tick. Yeah, stop it to make sure it wasn't splitting. And then you had to go take down the projection screen and pull that down.
So you fell in love with the process and,
It was
and
the
learning
process
everything about
at
it.
6 years old. And by the time I was 7 or 8, when I was 79, when he brought us a video camera, which was a big old carton full of batteries with a big system. You had to push the buttons like this and it pops up.
Oh, I remember.
With a big cable.
I remember.
And that was also a process.
Yeah.
And our lights were, you turn them on in 5 minutes, you burn your hand.
You had your beta tapes. You had your
Absolutely. We had a Beta SP. That's what it was. So,
I remember that.
and it was supposed to be, the end thing. And I was a kid at 7 years old and I had one.
So now what was Crystal doing at this time? Now Crystal clearly writes all the scripts, right? And directs episodes as well. So you guys are, how far apart are you?
14 months. She's the bigger sister.
Wow. So 14 months apart. So you're in love with filmmaking. What was Crystal doing at this
Well,
time?
he told her to go write the stories.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
He said, go write some stories and Howard will teach you how to shoot it.
So y'all really been doing this from day one.
He's been training us. Crystal and I have about 30 short films before we were 17.
Wow.
Together.
Dynamic duo.
So this tells you.
They called them
Yeah.
them Gibsons.
Each one teach one, we can reach one. So if you have children, what you feed your children, they will become. Listen to what Howard just said. He said he fell in love with filmmaking. His father made sure that he understood how to take apart the camera, put the film in, load it. He told Crystal to write the scripts. So they were doing this at a young age. Repetition is the mother of skill. I'm going to say that again. Repetition is the mother of skill. The more you do something, the better you get at it, even if it's the wrong thing. So hopefully you choose the right thing to do. Okay? So this is amazing to me because I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
So you were handed this, right, as a part of what would become your legacy very early on. And fast forward now you got a hit television series on the All Black Network, which is a division of AMC called Double Cross.
Double Cross.
One of my favorite shows.
Yeah, my wife.
I can't even wait. Like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, tell us about that. What did it feel like when you got the call and you knew that your show now was going to end up on air? When you knew you had a responsibility to turn in these episodes, what did you feel? How did you react? Like, what was going on inside of you?
It was truly a dynamic duo scenario because we did not have the idea at all. And we were out there, I think it was my wife, me and Crystal sitting in a triangle, just kind of saying, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? How do we do this? And we didn't know if they wanted a TV show or a feature. They said they just wanted to meet us. And so we flew out to Los Angeles and got into a hotel room. And Crystal and I looked at each other like, okay, what are we going to do?
This is happening.
This it. What we going to do? And I said, Crystal said, all right, a feature film idea, let's go. And we started going back and forth like we used to as kids. Stand up and move our bodies, everything. We was just like, okay, all right, we got a feature film idea. Okay, cool, write that down real quick, Crystal.
Everything is energy. Yeah. Everything is energy.
Yeah.
Everything has to be in motion, moving. I love how you just said that, right? You started moving around.
That's what we did.
You can't expect it to come if you ain't doing that.
And when,
you gotta move.
When you're right there in the moment, we were like, channel into your belief, and I channel into mine completely. And so we did that. And so we didn't have a TV series. And she said, Howard, I don't know if we got a TV series. Don't worry, we got a really good feature film. But we don't have a TV series because I'm not sure. They weren't sure. And we sat down with Brett Dismute. And he's the chief head over at
Shout out to Brett Dismute.
Shout out to Brett Dismute. And he said, pitch me. And we all like, a television show. And Crystal and I looked at each other like, oh. And I pitched him the end of episode 1.
Oh my God.
And that reaction, he did just that.
Yeah.
He did like this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Literally, we screamed watching it.
Because we didn't know when we watched
No
the film.
idea.
So we were like, oh shit.
And then it
like
continues when she opens the door and just
Right.
oh
It's not
shit.
expected.
And then when she cut his
Right.
throat, that was all that. Kudos, shout out to you for the special effects, because that shit looked like his throat
Yeah.
was bleeding.
Yeah. So it was a combination of, it was truly an example of that moment in that time period of Crystal's and I's strength together since we were a
But
child.
where did that come from? Was that a part of the feature film, or was that just something you thought about on the
came
spot?
I came out of my back pocket of tricks.
Created in the moment. You know what we call
Created
that?
in the moment.
Ready, shoot, aim.
That's
it
it.
means you just keep going, right?
Yeah.
For all those people who think you have to be perfect, you don't. You just got to get started. It'll come. You just keep it moving.
It starts with an
Yes,
idea. Yes.
Yeah. And so we got out of that meeting and very unsure as to
What the outcome was.
Yeah. You know, and we were just in the moment, in the vibe, you know, and not even 16 hours later, the next day, middle of the day, we got a text that said green light.
Wow.
Now, figure out how to make a story around that. And I said, Crystal, pass you the ball.
And she went to work.
Yes.
Yes.
That woman, literally.
She's
like,
incredible.
I'll call
Incredible.
Crystal and she'll text me back, D, I can't talk.
Yeah.
She
And
just
she
goes-
right
she gets
in.
sick.
She just
Her-
goes in and focuses.
She's
And
Her
then
talent-
comes out with it.
Yeah.
Her talent is like a sickness inside of her. Literally, like she gets a pain in her stomach.
Physically.
She physically get pain because, see, you have to check. Me as the director, that's my channel. When you see how I direct and when I move on the set, that's my channel. I'm zero rages sharp. Right?
DMX would have said, stay focused.
Stay focused.
Gonna get busy.
Raise your shop. And Crystal is that one in that back of that room.
Yeah.
Man.
You know, and so, and we talked about it. All that we talked about was, look, we the Wonder Twins. They always used to call us that when we were coming up, and we would, and they called us them Gibsons, always. And so, okay, we're gonna do something about our alter egos. I said, okay. And she said, I'll be my wild side, and you always gonna be my protector because that's who you are. And I said, okay, that sounded
That
about
shit was
right.
crazy. When I read the first script, and I was like, these motherfuckers is vigilantes for good.
Yes.
It was crazy. I was like, so I'm
Yeah.
in. And then when I read Detective Ryan, I said, yo, this dude is the business. He's the way she wrote it was like, this dude is a no nonsense dude. But at the same time, she left a level of like uncertainty. Like, was this dude in the streets before? Does he know dudes in the street? Like the way she wrote it, and then of course, right, the second season, we see that he knew Jeff's character. Shout out to Jeff, right?
Shout out to Jeff.
So
Jeff, I
it's
love
like,
him.
I mean, we got an amazing cast. I mean, the work that Faith is doing as a nurse, right?
Yes.
The work that Judy is doing, the work that Ashley came in,
Absolutely.
you know, with the smoke originally. It's like, man, and you
Oh
just
my God. And Nurse Brian.
built upon Nurse Brian. It's
We
like,
have a
Everything,
great
everything.
cast.
We have a,
amazing
but
cast.
it was that one glue that we
Yeah.
were missing, and it had to be the veteran coming in, setting the tone,
being the glue.
being the glue, having us move a certain way. You know, when we have a guy like Darren coming in, because again, you got to go back. My mind was going back to the music video days.
Yes,
I
sir.
promise you.
Yes, sir.
And I was like, he's the choreographer. He's the conductor. And everybody follows his lead,
Yeah.
literally.
Sets the standard.
Yeah,
I
man.
remember
He set
how
the
it
standard
was
in
so
his
great on
movements.
It was incredible, man. Just being open to the energy where everybody was looking towards me to be
That's
like,
right.
you know,
Everything about that was when Darren showed up, we all said, "Ah, he's here."
Yeah.
But
For
what
real.
was also a cool part about it, from season one, was that you were also so very humble.
Absolutely.
Even though you had the expertise and everyone respected it, you set the standard, but the humility of it, the way that you carried yourself, was just something that everyone was in awe of and wanted to be as that as well.
I appreciate that.
That's what I hoped for. That's what I hoped for. And I knew that when you came in and I said, oh, the level that he's bringing to the table, everybody's got to step up and like
You raise the bar.
raise the bar
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
And you know, and the first moment he spoke, it was the first scene that I did with
Yeah,
you.
yes, sir.
Was it the very first scene?
It was the morgue scene.
It was the morgue scene. So here I am coming back into this. Darren's first day, he comes in with Jasmine Burke and Crystal threw me in to be this
Scene.
the scene.
The forensic doctor.
Yes.
He's a
And
coroner.
The
I was the
coroner,
coroner.
that's right.
Coroner.
And I'm like,
Handsome coroner.
and I'm reading this line and I'm directing. That was my first scene to direct the episode.
Yeah.
And so I just had to just kind of fight it off. And I just kept looking and kept saying, this is Darren. I kept doing it. I kept doing it. So I get it. On that side as an actor, I get it. I do get it. You know, and I respect that so much, you know, and your process. And I just love it when you come through and you look, you grand rise everybody for real.
Yes.
You know, and so that kind of energy that we have mixed in with us being a loving family and a hardworking family, you know, that your energy helps us push that much more.
And help solidify the team.
Amber, tell us a little bit about what you do on set, because literally, if you didn't do what you do,
You wanna
we-
do
a little bit of everything,
we would
huh?
not be able to, you know, get the scenes in, get the shots done. Tell
Absolutely.
people what your job title is and what
Well,
you do.
We again, this is our family thing. So we do a little bit of everything. I try definitely to do what I can, where I can, as much as I can, because this is who we are. But specifically on set, I'm art director. So my thing is visually, how do we set the tone? How can we evoke the emotion? How can we bring it all in together from the very beginning of seeing it and bringing it in? So the colors, just everything plays a full part.
The
in
lush
the emotion.
locations that we find.
Yes,
and
creating
taking
the
them and respinning
sets.
them and do it
So
all.
just to have that creative eye and creating something out of nothing, if we possibly can, and just allowing each character to have their individual spaces so we can create that environment changes the world.
It's amazing. I've seen you turn blank sets into just really beautiful locations where, you know, we're ultimately shooting and looking like one of the grandest bedrooms or an amazing clubhouse or a dungeon or a jail. It's phenomenal how you work.
Oh,
the set.
thank you.
So
Blessings.
kudos to you.
Appreciate
And now every
it.
time I see you on set, I'm doing a little bit of this, I'm doing a little,
Little
bit of that. You know,
I mean,
whatever.
that is absolutely true. I have whatever these hands can do, they will do. There's nothing that I can't do. So if I can put my hand on it, you'll see me carrying a couch. I'm coming across the
That's
set.
right. I've
You
seen
know,
it.
you've seen it. It does
I've
not
seen it.
matter. I will hammer. I will
seen
put
it.
it up because it is what we are doing. And we put everything into it because it's just that much more value to it. And with everyone just like yourself, it creates that whole
beautiful.
world.
So I have a question about, you do the special effects on Double Cross and like they are incredible. Can you talk a little bit about where you come up with the ideas, like specifically the opening, the part where she slit his neck and
Yeah.
you see that, I mean, everything is so realistic.
Yeah. So Crystal is interesting because she writes and she'll write something in it that she's afraid to write because
What did she say?
she's like, Howard, I don't know. I can't. I say,
you
know,
do this?
can you do this? And I say, yeah, just I can do anything. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so that slit of the neck was
I love
very
that answer.
important.
I could do anything. Don't worry about it. Just be
Yeah.
creative.
Well, you know what? See, episode 2, season 1. She came to me in a conversation. Howard, how are we going to roll out on this murder mystery? And how are we going to do this slit of the throat? I said, don't worry about it. That's Eric Cross's words.
Yes.
So she was able to
I
translate,
love that.
Yeah.
I love
don't
that.
worry about it. That's me.
I love that.
So the conversation of season 1, episode 2 is our exact conversation. Standing up in the scene.
Oh, wow.
I love
Our
it.
exact, every
Yeah.
word we said is exactly what she
I
wrote.
know you got a little Eric Cross in you too.
I do a little
Because of
bit,
your
a little
family,
bit,
I know
yeah, a
you
little
do.
bit. And so all of it's there. So visual effects, you know, I love it. I just try to do new things.
Yeah, I mean, there was when she was getting chased by Detective Ryan. I mean, it looked like she was driving down the streets.
You created
I
a
had
whole
no
city.
idea that was special effects.
Let me tell you, I want everybody to look at episode 1. The very first scene is a white Porsche running down the street. It is not real.
It's incredible.
It's not real. And we meshed it and matched it with real footage. And so we have some background scenes you'll see, but the actual car in the street, it was a test that we were working with Unreal Engine in the very early iterations before COVID, before the virtual production pipeline kind of blew up. And we were in the early renditions of the promise of taking technology and moving it into a universe of photoreal environments. And so very early, we were working on creating synthetic environments, photometry, which is basically scanning your neighborhood, like Google
like
does.
Google
Like
Maps.
Google does, yeah.
Yeah.
But we take that data and we can now artificially recreate those streets, make them look photoreal day and night, any time of the day, make it rain on those
Incredible.
streets. And we can now mesh those images and timelines with you standing in the stage. And the next goal is to take your whole being as a NFT object for yourself. And now we photoreal your performances. So you're still performing the movies in the future. You'll still perform it, but your performance will be your younger you or your older you or the alien you
Wow.
in photoreal and in real time. So you get to perform, but we have you in the suit. We have you in augmented scenario. So the acting level is going to be different. Have to retrain in how to move your bodies in thin air. James Cameron kind of made
Is
that
that
happen.
similar to what they did with the Tupac?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. And so that was pretty much a rotoscope. So that was actually his entire movements after his death, pulled from his footage from live concerts and rotoscoped those images and took all of the photos from him and was able to digitally scan the real and true image of Tupac in a photoreal scenario and pop him up on his stage, and he can talk, he can do anything.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
The technology that we're dealing with today is phenomenal. You know, we got movies like Avatar coming out, you know, the Black Panther's coming back out,
Correct.
and there's a lot of special effects in that.
Correct.
So we're in the 4th season of Double Cross.
Fourth season.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about what to expect in the 4th season of Double Cross? No spoilers, but just come on with a little bit. I mean, because you know these characters so well, and Crystal and I have talked, and you know, you never really know what's gonna happen with the crosses.
Yeah. Season 4 is a lot of unexpected moments. And when we're thinking about the show and how to expand it, when things becomes a surprise to us, that's it. And so this season is also, and from the footage that I've seen and the cuts that I've seen so far, it warms my heart because I now deeply understand these characters. Mm-hmm. I care for those characters. Mm-hmm. I understand more about them by the way you all present it to us. And it's gotten a life of its own in this season. It's so unpredictable, and where it goes from here, everything, you know, is not what it seems to be. And there are new things that are coming that we didn't know exist before.
And shout out to my TV wife, Candace.
Candace.
I got to shout her out.
So Candace. So here we go.
Yeah.
Candace.
So here's an exclusive of also will be created for season 1. So if Ashley is Crystal, the 14-month older of Eric, Jeff, where's Candace? Candace is Robin.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Okay.
So
I can
in
see
our
that.
I
minds,
love the correlation.
in our minds, how she acts,
Like Candace, like baby sister.
baby sister.
Baby sister. It's
And so we've manifested Robin as Candace, who is now alter ego Tanya, Detective Ryan's wife,
it's incredible.
in the show. But the inspiration of Robin is Candace.
It's incredible. It's beautiful.
It's crazy.
It's so beautiful. And the great thing is, you have so many family members. You have no idea where the show is ultimately going to go. But I can tell you this. It's just getting started. We're in the fourth season, and it seems like it was yesterday. And it's so much further to go. I mean, even with my character, Detective Ryan, everybody saw his daughter got kidnapped. You know, she got put in a mansion because they were going to try to sell her. You know, it was interesting because I was watching other films and I was thinking, I mean, everybody knows that Liam Neeson, you know, the movie that he did that came out a long time ago, right, Taken. And I said, yo, and I remember being on set and getting ready to do these scenes, and I remember how I felt. And I felt like it's a problem.
Yeah.
Like something's getting ready to go down because I got to get my daughter back, period.
Facts.
Like you feel that if you're internalizing the character, if you are doing the work, if you are paying attention to the emotional roller coaster that the character's going on, and you help us get there. Crystal helps us get there. Gil helps us get there.
Absolutely.
Shout out to all the production members, cast members, producers that help make Double Cross a success. We love you. We're grateful for you. And just really, so now I wanna bring it back in. Mm-hmm. So you're this director, you're a producer, you're creative, and you're a technological genius, but you're also a dad.
Absolutely.
Like, how important is it for you to be kind of like a mentor for your children as well? Because a lot of them are on set and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're doing. I mean, they could literally work on any set in Hollywood right now.
That's very true.
That's very true.
And do their job well. So just speak to a little bit about what it means. And it may be rhetorical for you, but speak to us about what it means to really be a mentor to your children. So, and not just your sons, but your daughter as well, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't get influenced by everything else in the world.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
It's a lot of it is, you know, Amber and I aligning with the main purpose in life, living life on purpose, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's one of these things where we set a tone of our goals and our dreams, and we kind of created a pathway to only live within those means. Mm. And it's challenging, and it also brings us together because we can reaffirm each other of what the plans and goals are. And over those course of going through the ups and the downs of the challenges of being entrepreneurs, being creative, being in financial technology, being in technology, we were always in a kind of forward motion trailblazing moment, which if you can imagine, kind of my world is always in an incubator stage of early thought processes. So there's people in the world who just come up with the ideas, come up with the process and the formulas. People come out of MIT. I just happen to be close to those guys coming from the streets of DC. And I had the same attributes. And I was able to accelerate that a lot more than the college students because I could move more agile than them and pick up all the same.
And do you find that your children are similar to you when you were younger?
So we take all of that, that we build that 100% into our children by showing it in action.
Yeah,
words.
We were actually just talking about that, about learning in the moment as well as teaching your children so that they can also see it in action, not just being able to hear it.
Don't hold anything. We've never held anything back from them when it came to a business deal. I had my sons in the back of my car at 5 or 6 making business transaction deals because that's what my daddy did to me.
Yeah.
And so they understood that there was a process to it. There's a business behind it. And then they saw the outcome. We had to go, okay, now we have this closed. Now we have to do this.
That's right. there's a responsibility to it.
The work. Yeah.
The work.
The work.
And then now here is the reward for this. And so it's pretty, once you can get to that point and you can focus the family in that way and everybody can align and you keep on reassuring the kids in the best way that you can that this is going to happen. And then when it does, it's beautiful.
And,
Yeah,
the manifestation is much more powerful when you have multiple people focused on the same same
beautiful.
goal.
It's beautiful.
And I see them. They trust you. They love you. They honor you. And that's
they're so
what
talented.
Yeah, and that's what the Double Cross family is about. It really is. It's each one teach one, we can reach one. And you access all of their gifts all the time. And you allow them to be who and what they are and what they want to become. I see it every day on set. I watch it. And year after year, I see their growth, exponential growth. And it's just beautiful. So I just want to say, that's our time. I just want to say thank you for coming here.
This was awesome.
Howard, Amber.
So much fun.
We love you guys
Love
so
you
much.
guys.
Keep
Love
doing
you
what you
guys
do.
back.
Yes.
We're just going to keep going, growing, and glowing.
Yes.
I'm Darren DeWitt Henson,
I'm Tari Henson.
and you've been grooved.